Hello students, welcome back. In the previous class we have discussed the starter level questions. Now we are going to discuss the expert level questions of the chapter Cell, the unit of life. In that, the first question, according to cell theory, all cells have nuclei, all cells are living, cells are fundamental unit of all the living organisms and all of this. You know that according to cell theory, all organisms are cells are the fundamental unit of all living organisms. So the cell theory mainly says that all living organisms are made up of cells and a product of cells, and new cells arising from the pre-existing cell. So according to cell theory, cells are the fundamental unit of all the living organisms. Next one, which of the following is an exception of cell theory? So which one is an exception from cell theory? It is viruses. In the previous class only I told you viruses, as they are not truly living and they are the connecting link between living and non-living things. That's why viruses are the exceptional from the cell theory. Next one, the cell as a basic unit of structure of living things, it was discovered by. So cell as a basic unit of structure of living things, that is all living organisms are made up of cells and product of cells, that was discovered by Schleiden and Schwann. Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann, they together put forth a theory called as cell theory, and according to cell theory, it is the cell is the basic unit of structure of all living things. Next one, prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell is usually, so what is the size of the prokaryotic cell? It is around 0.1 to 2.0 microns. The size of the prokaryotic cell, it is ranges from 0.1 to 2.0 microns. Next question. So next, in which of the following ribosomes are only 70S type? In which of the following type ribosomes are only 70S type? You know that 70S ribosomes are the characteristic feature of all prokaryotic cells. That's why the answer is the prokaryotic cell. In which of the following ribosomes are 70S? It is a prokaryotic cell. Next one, go through the following statements and then select the correct options from the for prokaryotic cell. In that first one, they are generally smaller than eukaryotic cell. Yes, it is correct. The prokaryotic cells are usually smaller than eukaryotic cell, and they multiply more rapidly than the eukaryotic cell. Yes, this is also correct. They are represented by bacteria, blue-green algae, mycoplasma and PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia like organisms. So here all are correct regarding the prokaryotic cell. Next one, regarding cell envelope and its modification. Plasmids were discovered by, plasmids, these are the self-replicating extrachromosomal, self-replicating extrachromosomal double-stranded circular DNA, which is commonly present in the prokaryotic cell. They were discovered by Hayes and Lederberg. Next one, the term glycocalyx is used for. The term glycocalyx, it is a layer surrounding the cell wall of bacteria. If you recall the structure of bacteria mainly made up of 3 wall layers. The outermost layer is called as a glycocalyx. The first one is called as glycocalyx, then followed by cell wall, then cell membrane. So it is a layer surrounding the cell wall of bacteria. The middle layer is the cell wall that is surrounded by a glycocalyx in bacteria. Next one, which among the following structure are present in both the prokaryotic and eukaryotic plant cell? So it is cell wall. Cell wall, it is commonly present in all plant cells. Plant cells are the eukaryotic cells as they contain true nucleus. Even these plant cells having cell wall, and even the prokaryotes like bacteria also having cell wall. So that is the common feature present both in prokaryotic and eukaryotic plant cell. Next one, prokaryotic nucleus is also called as, prokaryotic nucleus can also be called as a false nucleus, incipient nucleus, genophore, or can also be called as a prochromosome. Pro refers to primitive. Here the prokaryotic nucleus can also be called as a prochromosome. Next one, In cyanobacteria, the membranous extensions into the cytoplasm are called dash and they contain pigment. So in case of cyanobacteria, they have membrane extensions into the cytoplasm. See, for example, if this is the cell, we can find the membranous extensions into the cytoplasm, and these membranous extensions usually contain pigments. So they are called as chromatophores. See, for example, in bacteria, the inward folding of the plasma membrane is called as mesosome, that helps in respiration. Similarly, in cyanobacteria, there are membranous extensions into the cytoplasm and they contain pigments, that is chromatophores. Next one, polysome is a chain of. So this is also another thing we can observe in the bacterial cell. Here, many number of ribosomal subunits which are attached to single mRNA. You know that a ribosome is made up of a smaller subunit and a larger subunit. Both the subunits are attached to a single mRNA. So that condition is called as a polysome. Polysome, it is a chain of ribosomes. It is a chain of ribosomes. Next one, DNA is not found in. DNA is not found in case of a ribosome. See, in nucleus there is a DNA. In mitochondria they have their own DNA. Even chloroplast also having own DNA. But ribosomes, they are the protein factories. They usually do not contain the DNA. Next question, which one of the following is absent in animal cell? Which one of the following is absent in animal cell? See, in animal cell, cell wall, it is absent, and plastids and cell wall, central vacuole and cytoplasm. Actually, the main difference what we can observe in animal cell, yes, cell wall is absent, but vacuole, not central vacuole, vacuoles may be present and cytoplasm is also present. So we can go for the second statement, plastids and cell wall. Plastids and cell wall both are absent in case of animal cell. Next one, which of the following statements are true about eukaryotes? They are cells with a nucleus. Yes, eukaryotes are the cells with a nucleus, correct. They are found both in humans and multicellular organisms. Even this is also correct. And third one, endoplasmic reticulum is present in eukaryotes. Yes, correct. And they have chemically complex cell wall. This is wrong. So they do not have chemically complex cell wall. But in case of prokaryotes, we can find chemically complex cell wall, but not in case of eukaryotes. So among these four statements, only three are correct. 1, 2, and 3. So first option. Next one. Which one of the following is the correct statement on fluid mosaic model? Cell membrane is composed of proteins that are arranged in bilayer. This is wrong. We always say that the lipids, the phospholipids are arranged in bilayer. Here they have mentioned protein. So this is wrong. Lipids are arranged outside the cell membrane with the polar ends towards inner side and hydrophobic tails towards the outer part. This is also wrong. Lipids are arranged outside the cell membrane, they have mentioned. Actually, the lipids are arranged in the cell membrane. And you know that they are made up of two types of one polar head, other one is a non-polar tail. The polar region always towards the outer surface and the non-polar tail, it is towards the inner surface. Here they have given wrong. And next one, the lipid component of the cell membrane mainly consists of cardiolipin. So this is also wrong. And fourth option, lipids are arranged within the membrane with the polar ends towards the outer surface and the hydrophobic tails towards the inner surface. So this is correct regarding the fluid mosaic model. Next one, the distribution of intrinsic proteins in the cell membrane is asymmetrical, because the intrinsic proteins, they may be partially or completely embedded in the phospholipid bilayer. They are arranged asymmetrically here and there. They are embedded here and there in the phospholipid bilayer. That's why we will say asymmetric arrangement of intrinsic proteins. Next one, in human beings, the membrane of the erythrocytes refers to RBC. The membrane of RBC contains approximately how much of proteins and lipids? So the RBC membrane mainly comprising of 52% proteins and 40% lipids. Next one, Which one of the following is partially or totally buried in the membrane? So which one is partially or totally buried in the membrane? It is integral protein, can also be called as intrinsic protein. These are the proteins, they may be partially or completely buried in the phospholipid bilayer. Next one, arrange the following structures of an intact plant cell in centripetal manner. So we need to arrange them in the centripetal manner. So when we look at option A, they has cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, has mainly pectin, has lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, and shows selectively permeability for solute transport, and has a high lignin and suberin in higher amounts. So when we need to arrange them in a centripetal manner, the first one is they has mainly pectin, and they have cellulose, hemicellulose, and even pectin, and later they have lignin and suberin in higher amounts, and lastly see they has lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. It is actually related to the cell membrane, and these are mainly related to the cell wall when we arrange them in centripetal manner. So we can go for B, A, D, C. Next one, what is the structural element of cell wall in plants? What is the structural element of cell wall in plants? The structural elements are mainly the microfibrils. The microfibrils are commonly present in the cell wall of plants. Next one, which one of the following is the function of lysosomes? So the main function of lysosomes is autophagy. So what do you mean by autophagy? The engulfing of cell components within the cell. You know, in the cell there are mitochondria, chloroplast, mitochondria, lysosomes, everything are present in the cytoplasm. If for example, if mitochondria is damaged, or if it is when it is damaged, at that time these lysosomes, they will engulf the damaged mitochondria. That process is called as autophagy. So engulfing the cell component is called as autophagy. This is one of the important function of the lysosome. Next one, which cell organelle connect the nuclear envelope with the cell membrane? It is only endoplasmic reticulum, because you know that the nuclear membrane, the outer nuclear membrane is extended as endoplasmic reticulum, and this endoplasmic reticulum will connect the nuclear envelope with the cell membrane, so that it is endoplasmic reticulum. Next one, what is the main function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum? The main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it generates energy to derive other biochemical processes. It is the site of the modification of proteins involving their translation from RNA. It synthesizes proteins using RNA as a template, and it is the site for destruction of unwanted biological materials. Actually, the main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is it is the site of the modification of proteins. Actually, the main function of rough endoplasmic reticulum is protein synthesis, and main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is lipid synthesis. But even along with the lipid synthesis, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum also helps in. It is the site for modification of proteins. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum helps in modification of proteins following their translation from RNA. So it will be it helps in translation from RNA also. The translation process you will understand in the second POC. The next one, rough endoplasmic reticulum is called rough because why the endoplasmic reticulum is called as rough? So that is a rough endoplasmic reticulum. It is mainly called because of the surface is studded with ribosomes. When the endoplasmic reticulum is coated with ribosomes, such type of endoplasmic reticulum is only called as a rough endoplasmic reticulum. Otherwise, it is called as a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Next one, which of the following statements are true about endoplasmic reticulum? See, first one, smooth endoplasmic reticulum makes lipids, correct. It is also called the control center of the cell. This is wrong. It is not the control center of the cell. Nucleus will be the control center. Next, it processes carbohydrates. Yes, it helps in processing the carbohydrates, correct. And it modifies chemicals that are toxic to the cell. Yeah, it also helps in modification of toxic substances or helps in detoxification of drugs, so that 1, 3 and 4 are correct. Second one is wrong. Next one, a distinctive feature of the lysosome is that it has Actually, one of the distinctive feature of lysosome is that it is having lower pH than the cytoplasm. If this is the cell, this is the lysosome. So here also there will be a pH. The pH is low than that of the cytoplasm. What the pH value we can see in the lysosome, it is quite less than that of the cytoplasm. It indicates that in cytoplasm there is more pH when compared to the lysosome. Next one. If vacuole is bound by a single membrane, it is called as a tonoplast. The membrane of vacuole is called as a tonoplast. Next one, which one of the following is not a cell inclusion? See, the cell inclusions are usually the reserve food materials like crystals, starch, fat droplets, etc. All are called as inclusion, cell inclusion, but not the vacuole because it is bounded by a membrane, that is tonoplast. Next one, what is mitoplast? The mitochondria without outer membrane is called as mitoplast. If you remember the structure of mitochondria, the outer membrane is smooth whereas the inner membrane is inwardly folded to form crista. So this is the general structure of mitochondria having two layers. But if in certain conditions, the mitochondria without outer membrane that appears like just only we can find the presence of crista but not the outer membrane. If mitochondria without outer membrane, such type of mitochondria is said to be mitoplast. Next one, sausage shaped or cylindrical shaped. Here they have given some statement related to this one. Sausage shaped or cylindrical, that is a diameter 0.2 to 1.0 micrometers, average 0.5 micrometers, length 1.0 to 4.1 micrometers, and has two aqueous compartments. There are two aqueous compartments. Outer membrane as a continuous limiting boundary of the organelle. So the outer membrane as a continuous limiting boundary of the organelle, and the inner membrane forms many crista. The inner membrane forms many inward foldings called as a crista. When you heard the term crista, then you can remember that one. It is about mitochondria. We'll see the remaining options also. So our inner membrane forms many crista which increases surface area, and both membranes have their own specific enzymes. Both outer membrane and inner membrane have their own specific enzymes, and all the above features are attributed to mitochondria. I told you when we heard the term crista, it is related to mitochondria. Next one, the stain used to visualize mitochondria is. See, we will use different types of stains like eosin, carmine, arsine, etc. Likewise, there are different types of stains we are using in laboratory. But in order to stain the mitochondria, we are using a stain called as Janus green. Janus green is the stain we are mainly using to visualize mitochondria. Next one, the energy releasing reactions in a cell occurs in mitochondria. That is why we are calling mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell, as it produces cellular energy in the form of ATP. Mitochondria is also called as powerhouse of the cell. So the energy releasing reactions are mainly taking place in mitochondria. Next one, which of the following is correct about the outer and inner membrane of chloroplast? Here it is more permeable and less permeable respectively. I mean to say the outer membrane is more permeable and the inner membrane is less permeable in case of chloroplast. Next one, consider the following statements and choose the correct one. Plant cells have centrioles which are absent in almost all animal cells. This is wrong. Plant cells, they do not contain centrioles. The middle lamella is a layer composed of calcium carbonate and holds the different neighboring cells together. This is also wrong because the middle lamella is a layer composed of calcium pectate and magnesium pectate. Here they have mentioned carbonate, so wrong. Next one, third one, ribosomes are the sites for protein synthesis. It is correct. And fourth one, in animal cells, steroid hormones are synthesized by rough endoplasmic reticulum. This is wrong because steroid hormones are synthesized by smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So that only the third option is correct. That is, ribosomes are the sites of protein synthesis. Next one, sedimentation coefficient indirectly measures What the sedimentation coefficient measures indirectly, it is both density as well as size. The sedimentation coefficient we are mentioning for the ribosomes, where the ribosomes are mentioned as 70S and 80S. Here S is the sedimentation coefficient or the Swedberg number. At what density we can able to measure both density and size, that only mentioned in terms of S. Next one, microfilaments are made up of. While we study about the cytoskeleton is of three types: microtubules, microfilaments and intermediate filaments. Here microfilaments are mainly made up of actin protein and microtubules are made up of tubulin protein, whereas intermediate filaments are made up of different types of proteins such as keratin, desmin, etc. And next question, axonym having 9+2 doublet microtubule arrangement is found in. So 9+2 arrangement can be seen in case of cilia and flagella. If you recall the structure of cilia and flagella, where there are 9 doublets which are arranged like this. There are 9 doublets and in the center there are 2 singlets which are connected with the help of a bridge. So this type of 9 doublets and 2 singlets arrangement can be seen in cilia and flagella. That's why always in cilia and flagella we will say 9+2 arrangement, but in centrioles the arrangement is said to be 9+0 arrangement, because we can find 9 triplets in centrioles, but in the center there are no triplets, doublets or singlets. So no microtubules are present in the centriole. That's why 9+0 arrangement in centriole. But here they are asking 9+2 arrangement, that is cilia and flagella. Next question. Choose the correct statement about cilia and flagella. Choose the correct statement regarding cilia and flagella. See first one, first option. They are hair-like outgrowths of the cell membrane. They are hair-like outgrowths of the cell membrane. Correct. Second one, eukaryotic flagella are not structurally different from prokaryotic flagella. This is wrong. Actually, we can find a quite difference between the eukaryotic flagella and prokaryotic flagella. So this is wrong. Next one, they originated from the basal bodies, that is centriole-like structure. This is correct. The cilia and flagella, they usually originating from the basal bodies and they look like centriole-like structure. So 1 and 3 are correct. Next one, the central part of the centriole is a proteinaceous and it is called as, the central part which is a proteinaceous region called as hub. In the centriole, there are 9 triplet fibrils which are arranged cylindrically, and in the center there is a proteinaceous region from which the radial spokes are arising. So this region is called as the proteinaceous region hub. Next one, centrosome is found in. So what is centrosome? See, in eukaryotic cell or in animal cell, near the nucleus we will find 2 centrioles which are arranged perpendicular to each other. One centriole arranged like this and the other centriole is arranged perpendicular to each other. The 2 centrioles together, it is called as centrosome. It is called as centrosome. So centrosome is found in the cytoplasm of animal cells. So in the cytoplasm, we will find the centrosome including 2 centrioles. Next question. The number of structural microtubules associated with a cell of an animal in mitosis is. For this one, see, in case of animal cell, there are 2 centrioles. There are 2 centrioles. Each centriole having 9 microtubules. 9 microtubule triplets. If one microtubule triplet is like this, so this is the triplet. If it is 9 triplets, 9 into 3, it is 27. In one centriole, we will find 27 microtubules. See, in the centriole structure, there are 9 triplet fibrils. Each triplet, it is having 3 subunits. So here there are 3 microtubules, and as there are 3, when we multiply 9 into 3, 9 microtubules or 9 into 3 means each one having 3 microtubules, so that 9 into 3 it is 27. In one centriole we will find 27 microtubules. In another one also we will find 27 centrioles. So together it is 27 plus 27, it is 54. So in one animal cell, there are 54 microtubules during mitosis. You know that during mitosis, one cell divides to form two cells. Again, in both the cells, there must be two centrioles. So at the time of cell division, this cell also having two centrioles and this one having two centrioles. Here, one animal cell having 54 centriole at the time of cell division. Here 54 and here 54. It is 108. So that the answer is 108. Next one, choose the false statement. Choose the false statement. First one, centrosome, it is a cytoplasmic structure of animal cell. No. Centrioles form spindles. No. Choose the false statement. Centrosome is cytoplasmic structure of animal cell. It is correct. It is commonly present in the cytoplasm. Next one, centriole form the spindle. Yeah, what the spindle fibers you can observe at the time of cell division, they mainly formed with the help of centrioles. So centrioles mainly helps in formation of spindle fibers. And next one, centrosome occurs in every animal cell and most of the plant cell. So this is wrong. We cannot say that they are always present in all animal cells and all plant cells. That's why this is wrong. And fourth one, centriole, they are membraneless but surrounded by a amorphous pericentriolar bodies. Yes, the centrioles are surrounded by pericentriolar bodies. So the third statement is false. Next question. Nuclear DNA exists as a complex of proteins called their chromatin. See, nuclear DNA, it is exists as a complex of proteins called as a chromatin, and that condenses into, when the chromatin undergo coiling and condensation, they will form chromosomes and chromosomes during cell division. Yeah, at the time of cell division, what the chromatin network which is there, they undergo coiling and condensation to form thick chromosomes. Next one, L-shaped chromosomes are called as, see, there are different shapes of chromosomes depending upon the position of the centromere. If it is a L shape, so L shape, it is called as a submetacentric chromosome. See, when the centromere is exactly in the center, they usually appear V-shaped during anaphase. They appear V-shaped during anaphase like this. That is metacentric chromosome. If the position of the centromere is slightly away from the center, if it is like this, so this is the submetacentric chromosome. When during anaphase, it looks like the L-shaped chromosome. L-shaped chromosome. That's why the L-shaped chromosomes are also called as submetacentric chromosomes. Next one, chromosomes can be stained with which one of the following? See, the chromosomes can be stained with the help of a stain called as acetocarmine. We are using acetocarmine and acetoarsine stain in our laboratory. So in order to stain the chromosomes, we are mainly using acetocarmine, and you will come to know we are using this stain for nuclear staining in our laboratory. So you will come to know when you come to the lab practicals. Next one, Balbiani rings are the sites of. See, these Balbiani rings are commonly present in polytene chromosome. There are different types of chromosomes like Lamb-Brush chromosomes, polytene chromosomes, salivary gland chromosomes. Similarly, the polytene chromosomes containing Balbiani rings, and these Balbiani rings are the sites of, RNA and protein synthesis. They are the sites for RNA and protein synthesis. The Balbiani rings which are present in the polytene chromosome helps in RNA and protein synthesis. Next one, isobrachial chromosomes are equal in length. For example, the metacentric chromosome is the best example for isobrachial chromosome because it is equal in length. The position of the centromere is exactly in the center, so we can expect the same length of the chromosomal half. So that's why isobrachial chromosomes are equal in length. Next one, the nucleoplasm is found in. So the nucleoplasm, it is the jelly-like matrix which is present in the nucleus. So within the nucleus there is a fluid matrix called as nucleoplasm. Next one, when the chromosome has a centromere near one end of the chromosome resulting in one shorter and one longer arm, the chromosome is called. So that is again submetacentric chromosome. I told you, if the chromosome, the centromere near one end of the chromosome. So this is the submetacentric chromosome where the centromere, it is near one end of the, we cannot say subterminal or exactly the terminal, it is slightly away from the center resulting in one short arm and one long arm. It is called submetacentric chromosome. Next one, which of the following are considered as microbodies? The microbodies are mainly the peroxisomes, glyoxysomes, melanosomes, etc. So all these are called as microbodies. So all of these. So you will come to know what are peroxisomes, glyoxysomes, melanosomes. So all these are said to be the microbodies which are commonly present in the cytoplasm. So this is about the expert level questions which we can discuss today. And you have an home assignment, the student drill, that will be the home assignment for you. And in the next class we will start up with the another type of questions. Thank you.